welcome to the Women in Motorsports. Joe San Diego here, hosting the show today. Daniel unable to join us, but we see we already got action in the chat room. Joshua Plays says, "Hey, Joshua, thank you for tuning in today, and we encourage everyone tuning in to be sure to subscribe and like the Grid Network. And also be sure to visit our Patreon page, like calling the show Mark and Robin. They invest in the Grid Network each and every month, keeping us on the air, and of course, a one-time contribution at Buy Me a Coffee will also keep us on the air as well. So we got a very exciting day of the show right here to cover. Once again, I'm Joe San Diego. Right now, joining me is Daniel Zuri from Racers, the girls behind the helmet. Daniel, welcome to the show today. How's everything going? And what a race weekend we got coming up.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Hi, Joe. Thank you for having me once again. It's been a pretty busy weekend. Last weekend in Monza I was. I was pretty happy to see some of these races back, like from a regional European Championship. Also, the Italian GT Championship was starting out in Monza. So a pretty exciting weekend it was, and obviously we have another very exciting ones coming up now.
Definitely some exciting ones. We'll get right into the show. We'll first start off with some NHRA drag racing that occurred last race weekend, and started off in Houston, Texas. It was the final time the National Hot Rod Association would race at Texas, because this racetrack in Houston being sold off for commercial development. Really interesting. Where in the past we've seen motorsports complex in the United States, like Riverside in the 1980s, get sold off because it was more valuable the land for development. Then the boom of NASCAR, motorsports, more tracks being built. And now we're starting to see a little bit of the same thing again. We know Chicagoland Speedway, owned by NASCAR, that's in jeopardy. The NHRA, they made the move. They're selling off Houston Raceway Park. And it was Brittany Force, who was going to be listed as a final Top Fuel driver to win at Houston Raceway Park for the Spring Nationals. And overall, 2 women took the win there. Brittany Force, she beat Justin Ashley with a top speed of 291 miles per hour in the right lane. Top Fuel is the fastest motorsport category under the National Hot Rod Association. It's the first time she had won 2 races in a row in her career. She won the prior race weekend. Now she got 2 in a row. And guess what? NHRA, they're back again for a third weekend, Charlotte. So she's going to try to make it 3 in a row. She has not done that before, so it'll be really exciting to see what she could do. And the pressure, I think, is starting to get to the rest of the field. She now leads the Top Fuel standing by 32 points over Steve Torrance. Now, Steve is going for his 5th straight Top Fuel championship this year. The last racer to win Top Fuel championship besides Steve was Brittany Force. 2017, this is shaping up to be quite a battle between these two. Everyone else, I think they're going to start realizing they need to step up their game if they want to beat Brittany or Steve. Top Fuel, that is the fastest class in the National Hot Rod Association. When it comes to the 3 premier classes, Pro Stock, most like stock vehicles, and by default, they're the slowest category, but still very fast times overall. And one of the big things we saw, an all-female final round. We had Cami Caruso making her first final appearance this year, and she was going up against Erica Enders, one of the champions of Pro Stock. And what's very interesting, despite Camry having the faster reaction time, so as soon as that line turned green, she was the first one to get going. 0.03 over Enders, 0.053. At the end, Enders had the car set up a little better, because in Pro Stock, you are shifting as you're going down that drag strip, and she just by inches got Caruso on the line, preventing Caruso from getting her first win. Erica Enders getting another win, and now she has the points lead in Pro Stock. So it's a very exciting day of racing in the National Hot Rod Association. Of course, we had the usual suspects of driver, including Brittany Force. She was there as well. Alessia DeJoria from Funny Car, the other premier class. She was unable to make it into the final rounds of her class, but overall a strong performance. The big thing, of course, now the next race for the National Hot Rod Tour is the Circle K 4Y National event at Charlotte, North Carolina. That means instead of 2 lanes, you're going to have 4 lanes of competition with the fastest 2 advancing. It's going to be a very exciting race weekend at Charlotte. And overall, Daniel, I got to say, it's pretty exciting to see National Hot Rod Association all-female final round in pro stock. It's happened a couple times there. And then, of course, we're going to see Brittany Force, Erica Anders leading their championship. Alexis DeJoya, she's having a really good season with that Rocket sponsorship. And, of course, we still have Leah Pruitt, quite a big field. Very exciting. And Dan, I know this past weekend you were covering some very exciting race weekends when it comes to Europe side. What are some of the races you were following?
Was following the former region European Championship first race of the season in Monza. We often reported him from this series. It is one of the most competitive Formula 3 level championships in Europe. I would probably say even more competitive than the FIA Formula 3 that is racing alongside Formula 1. In the past couple of years, really the level has been outstanding there. And we've often seen some drivers going straight into Formula 2 after that. So I think it really is really showing some momentum from this championship. Also, the teams are always there's coming new teams. So, for example, this year there's Trident Racing joining, so another really important team that is racing also in the FIA Formula 2 and Formula 3 championships. So, I guess being in Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine is really the place to be for young upcoming drivers going into the F1 route so far. And we have 2 female drivers on the grid this year. One is Hamda Al-Kubaisi, the really exciting prospect of Emirates. Of course, we've reported from her races last year in the Italian Formula 4. She's been on the podium. She's been the first woman to ever step on the Formula 4 Italian Championships podium. Won 6 races. She has been the only female driver worldwide to win more than 2 races in Formula 4. So I really want to watch. And she is stepping up into Formula 3 machinery with Formula Regional. Of course, she's racing the Formula 3 Asian Championship this winter. She did very well. She was almost in the point scoring positions at her debut, actually, on home soil at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. She's going with Prema this year. Prema Racing, of course, one of the really top team for junior championships in Europe. And I think she has really some good opportunities because she struggled a little bit in pre-season testing. There were 6 days of testing on 2 on each track. There were 2 days at Barcelona, 2 days at Paul Ricard in France, and 2 days in Monza. And Hamda struggled a little bit on pace. But really, once she went into the race weekend last weekend in Monza, she told me that she had the seat redone a couple of days before the race event. And that really made a huge difference. She was like 1 second faster straight away due to the new seat, which she said that she had been using in testing the seat from a Formula 4 car, which is a little bit different. Of course, the driving position is a little bit different. You're not that, also the visibility changes a little bit in a Formula 3 car compared to a Formula 4 car. And also there are a little bit of some other differences from different cars. So the driving positions really makes a lot of difference. And she's not the first driver to tell me that. And in free practice, she was like in around the top 10. So in a 40 car grid, that really means something that she can contest for points during the season. So that would be really massive achievement for Hamda. We also had another female driver, Lena Buller, a Swiss driver coming from for a second season in Formula Regional. Last year, she had a couple of very positive races. Usually, she had very strong recoveries. She was not there yet on pace in qualifying, but she had some strong races. For example, in Monaco, in first race, she was P20. She had her first top 20 in Monaco on that famous street circuit. And on the other hand, while Amda was like there in the top 10, 11, P13, she started P13 in qualifying one, so really put on some great laps and some great performances. Then in the races, unfortunately for Hamda, in race one on Saturday, there was rain, which is a condition that she doesn't particularly like because she's not really used to that. She just started in racing in Europe with rain a couple of years ago, so this is something she's learning every time. And of course, the Monza first chicane always really tricky. So there were some contacts. She had to straight line the first chicane. Was a little bit of a challenge for her. Then coming back in first race, she was P30, so probably not representative of her pace. And in race two, she pretty similar race for her. It was not rainy, but it was kind of damp circuit, which is also, if possible, even more trickier. And then there was again some contacts, and during a safety car, the safety car board was shown, and a driver that she was fighting with, it didn't immediately see the board, so he went for the move, and they touched, and Hamda was out of the race. So not a great first weekend for Hamda, but at least she showed that she has the pace to be up there in probably around the top 10. For Lena Buller, it was much more of a challenging one. At the end of last year, she showed when I think she had some engine issues, and she told me that still this year, the first race, they had straight line speed issues. That in Monza is not really what you want to have, because of course it's all very, very long straights. High speed is super important, and hard braking for the chicane. So really not the best place to have straight line speed issues for Lena Buller. But of course also she showed that she has more in her pace, because at there were quite a lot of safety cars at the restart. She had very good restart. She was like, at one point she managed to gain 6 positions in one lap. But then I was in the pit above the pit building, and I saw her on the straight with the other cars just going by her on pure speed. So I think this showed that they had to fix something with the car, but hopefully she will be back stronger in the next race, which is going to be in Imola in 2 weeks, and I'll be there also to cover their races.
It's going to be very exciting to follow them at Imola 2 weeks from now. And like you said, the pace is there. It's something else when you go from limited rain experience to now you're in the wet. We see in F1, we see in NASCAR when they have their few road course races in the rain. It is always such a tricky situation to adapt to. And the ones that have the experience, it's just something where it just seems that experience, just no matter how much practice you got, the experience makes it just so much easier. So Honda has a bit of an uphill when it comes to rain, but overall I feel like she's showing the pace there. And some dry races, I'm anticipating podium from her because she's really looking pretty good. So, but next up, we'll discuss a little bit about the ARCA Menard series. They had a double race weekend of ARCA Menards and the ARCA West series. We'll start off with the ARCA Menard series at Talladega, Alabama, site of Talladega Super Speedway. There we have Tony Brenniger. Of course, she is driving for Venturi Racing. She had been fast when it came to the super speedways. In Daytona, we all know she topped the practice speeds. Didn't exactly have the results there. This weekend did not go well at Talladega. She qualified 5th, but in that first practice, she wrecked hard on the front stretch of the 2.66 mile oval. She had to go to a backup car. That means even though she qualified fifth, she had to start in the back, the last row. So she was way towards the back. The other driver we had there, Amber Balkan, she started 13th place. And really, overall, considering her experience, looking like this could be a really good weekend for Amber to be so close to the top 10. In total, we had 6 caution flags. The 5th caution flag was when Tony Brandiger got hit from behind entering the tri-oval, and we saw several cars involved in this mess. Tony was very upset, especially the race. We were at a stage, we were not towards the final last few laps where you see beating and banging. This was still where we saw quite a bit of follow the leader, single file, vehicle from behind essentially ran into her back bumper. She was overall frustrated because a good day for her went down the drain. For Amber, she overall ran a smart race and came home in 12th place. It may not seem like something where you go from 13th to 12th, but this is a super speedway. If you've seen super speedway races, especially the NASCAR Cup Series or the NASCAR Xfinity Series, it is a battle for each and every position where you're in a pack of 20, 30, or 40 vehicles separated by just inches, lap after lap, pushing the other vehicle ahead of you through the draft or sometimes with the front bumper to gain position. So for her to come home 12th place, that is a very big deal for her. Tony Brandiger came home 24th. Meanwhile, over across the country, we had in Kern County Speedway in Bakersfield, California, the ARCA West Series was racing. That's where we again saw 2 drivers, Bridget Burgess and Amber Slade. They were ranging. Amber, she qualified 5th, and Bridget was 13th at Kern County Speedway. That is a half-mile oval, much shorter than Talladega Super Speedway, so close to 150 lap race. Amber, she went on the way to finish 10th place in the race, a top 10 finish for her. For Bridget, she got in the top 10 considering she started 13th, worked her way in the top 10. However, after a caution off turn 2, she brushed the wall. It didn't cause any significant damage for her car where she had to end the race or go on pit road, but it did cause a vibration. If anyone has driven a vehicle with a vibration, especially a race car, you just know that is taking a toll on your speed, the handling of the vehicle. She dropped down to 12th place, but still considering running in the top 10, lost positions to get to just 12th place, just 2 positions away. Great effort for her. That 88 team, and of course, this is one of the smallest teams in all of motorsports when it comes to the ARCA Racing Series, where it's ARCA West, East, and of course the big one, the ARCA Menard Series. So Bridget Burge is 12th place overall, and one of the big things, of course, her next race is going to be at Portland International Raceway. This was the race where last year she was up to 4th place at Portland International until mechanical issues dropped her out of the top 10. So we're very excited to see the ARCA Menard Series West coming to Portland International. That's just going to be next month. We're going to be right there at Portland International Raceway. Now, one of the big news, of course, that came out during the weekend was involving Tony Brandiger. We saw early in the year, February, the big news about Busch Light accelerate her program for all female racers in NASCAR. This was an effort where they were going to bring sponsorship to every female racer coming up the NASCAR division, where it was in the trucks, ARCA, Xfinity, ARCA Menards West or East. They had to be over 21 years old. So some racers like Bridget Burgess were not eligible. However, we saw on that promotion there was Amber Belcan, Tony Brandiger, Jennifer Jo Cobb, Natalie Decker, and several others. However, a lot of eyebrows were raised after this past weekend. There was a comment made on a channel earlier in which Tony Brandiger replied that she was no longer in the program. Only the sponsors on her uniform and card are the ones supporting her. This got a lot of people discussing, especially since the program has been a little bit on the quiet side since it was launched and made public in Daytona, featuring all the female drivers. Jennifer Jo Cobb, we know she was part of this program as well when it was announced. She has only done Daytona, attempted to qualify for another race, and we have not seen her on the track. Natalie Decker, we've seen her done a couple attempts, but has failed to qualify. One of the things this program said it was going to do, more track time, more media time for the female racers. And people are starting to wonder what's going on. It seems like maybe the program is either not delivering like it intended to, or maybe it's just taking a little bit longer in getting it up and running. Coverage Sunday, all the racing is going to be a very exciting race weekend of motorsports right here on the Grid Network. So be sure to subscribe and visit, including our sponsor, public.com. You get $5 in free stock when you use the referral code GRIDnet. Link in the video description. And once again, that is public.com. Every time you click on that referral code, it helps keep us on the air as well. For Daniele Zeri and Racers to Girls Behind the Helmet, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you next time and enjoy the races.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.